Hi, my name is Jason Todd, and we're here to look at our third section, which is called SEO analytics. So this is the third and final section that we'll be reviewing today, where we talk about how we use business metrics and business intelligence, and finally some SEO components to communicate value and how things are performing for our media content for our customers. So let's take a look at SEO analytics at 50,000 feet. So if you're looking at the screen, the first thing you want to, just a quick refresher on, is the business intelligence layers that we talked about. So the first one was the data management layer. I'm going to start talking about certain subjects or SEO related data subjects that we'll look into more. So the first one is performance data. So this is being able to pull the clicks, the visits, the trends associated with that. The next area is we'll talk a little bit about is search engine related specifics, being able to pull whether, how well things are performing on, either Google or Bing and those elements associated with it. And the third area that I want to talk about is there's a tool called Majestic SEO and Moz SEO. Think of these as third-party references that can communicate how well the site is viewed externally from a trust and citation perspective, and it can automatically quantify the number of other sites that link to it. And then finally, we'll roll this up into a geo and market area. So we'll take all of this interesting data and now apply it to that question format. So if you're looking on the screen, you can see some of the questions on that competing on analytics framework that I laid out that we'll put together, so you can then assign a mathematical function that will apply to that data, and then organize the content in a way that will make sense for your end users that you want to present to. So the first thing that I would take a look at it in this data is, how is my site performing? By being able to see the number of visitors, the actual sales and channel attributions, how things are coming in. For us, when we look at how things are performing, we're really interested in being able to generate leads to our customers. What I mean by that is, a consumer logs in, we want to connect them with attorneys. For example, maybe a consumer might fill out a contact form submission. So being able to count leads in the form of contacts that have been submitted. The second area is in calls. We might have phone numbers listed on the website. So being able to understand how many calls were sent to that customer. And there's ways that you can link and be able to track calls and what content drove the calls analytically, as well as then being able to understand the third channel, which is actionable chats. So as consumers are coming into attorney websites and they're chatting with them and they're using a chat mechanism, how many leads came out of that chat context? So we roll all that information together. The next area is we market, the website. So for example, we make sure that it's using content that is well recognized by the major search indices like Google and Bing. So we make sure the aesthetics are set up in a way that it'll be a good performer. But then to give it a little bit of an extra boost, we'll put values on there where you'll hear me use the word pay-per-click or PPC to say, to get the performance up and get the recognition a little bit more visible, we're going to add these PPC components to it in order to understand what's driving the traffic. The third example is, as we're doing all of this, we're reaching out and then getting the Moz and Majestic score for the website. When we do that, we can get a baseline of what the score was before we've done all of these neat enhancements, and then what the score has been afterwards. So there's going to be some customers that maybe just had a brand new site, just something that is just a single page, where they might not even have a Moz or Majestic score, very little performance, where you might be able to all of a sudden get it recognized by some of these indices, where you can see after you've done these improvements and it's ran for a certain period of time, you may be able to say, hey, here's a before and after picture of how things have been performing. Here's your visits, here's your trends, here's all of that elements that have been associated with that. The channel attribution is something that's really hot in the SEO market and the digital marketing perspective. And what I mean by channel attribution is, as consumers are coming in and clicking on content, they may be using their mobile device, their desktop, they may be going in through some type of directory, they may be clicking on links through what I would call an impression or ads on the screen. They may be getting email blasts, and we're able to track a lot of that today by using standard URL tracking devices, as well as putting tracking on phone numbers to say, hey, this was the content that this phone number was associated to. So we can even do offline elements to see what their whole advertising preview looked like. So you have the whole digital media of those channels that you see on the screen, and then we're using that business intelligence layer and then the Moz, Majestic, and the performance data to communicate that what channel is driving the best performance. That is a super exciting thing that just even 10 years ago, all of this information was siloed, and we're able to connect the consumer experience to better understand where are they coming from, who they are, what did they look at before they came here, and most importantly, what they might be most interested in. The new frontier of what's happening in digital marketing and SEO analytics, and what we're using data science for, is to be able to connect the consumer experience. And what I mean by that is being able to understand the journey of what someone looked at before they actually did a sales transaction or lead, and being able to put that information into the visitor path. So to kind of better understand it, if I can communicate that someone who is in the need for an intellectual property lawyer is really going to research and do a lot of due diligence before they make that request or lead, then being able to roll up statistics like they're going to look at 5 different attorneys, so your content needs to be rich. The average person might look at all of these different sites. So being able to kind of give performance statistics so people can understand their customer and what they need beforehand, that way we can connect that consumer experience to say, hey, here's what my customers look at, here's what they went through before, and here's what I need to do to make a better product or application to make them convert on our site. So connecting the consumer experience and using analytics by understanding the channels of which people come through to view content and see where things are headed is really where things are headed at, and where you're at the forefront by studying digital marketing. So when you look at SEO analytics, some of the things that you're going to track for your customers when you do these forms are, depending on who you select to do your pilot with, is you may want to help them track their calls that are coming in, their actionable chats, any transactions if they have an e-commerce site, and then being able to see if there's been a form submission for a lead. Being able to see all of that information together in one area will help them understand what channel's driving that, and then where they need to make some additional investments to go in the future. Thanks again for taking the time to take a look at some SEO analytics, and again, welcome to the digital marketing content, and I hope this gives you an overview of some of the things that are happening in the data science realm and how it's supporting digital marketing. Thank you.